Hi, so we're going to talk a little bit about the curriculum maps that have been developed. We're going to focus on English language arts for right now. I'm hoping that a lot of you have had a chance to really get into this a little bit, but if not, this is probably a good time to sit down and talk a little bit about what's in the curriculum maps and how we can use these the most effectively virtually. So I'm just going to click on a grade. I'm going to just click on second grade. And when you get to the second grade, you see that Equitable Educational Solutions, the company that they worked with through the state to help us write these. And if you notice, all the units of study are in thematic units. Now, the thematic units themselves are different from the thematic units that I taught, years ago. These are thematic units that are around a central theme or that big idea. So each one of these units is around that big idea that ties into what the assignments are. And so you have your pacing guide here, recommended amount of time. And on the appendices, you've got your proficiency sheets. We're going to talk about their proficiency scales. We'll talk about that a little bit. Your professional learning community sheet, and also the K-12 social emotional learning and employability framework. So as you come down, you're also going to see the standards breakdown. And the things that we're going to focus on the most are those green priority standards. Those are the ones that will get our most bang for the buck. So the first unit for second grade, establishing ourselves as readers and writers. There are two priority standards here. As you can see, there's some supporting, but we're going to focus on these priority standards. Those are the ones that we're going to get the most bang for our buck. And so if you're wondering how you're going to assess 2RL 2.1, there's proficiency scales that you click on, and it takes you to the proficiency scale with sample tasks and questions. And so one thing that might be helpful is you start here at this foundational with the sample tasks at the beginning of the unit, perhaps asking these questions and seeing where kids are, and then build your lessons around that. And then by the end, they should have the sample task, mastery, and then the definition of what that is. So as you go through each unit, you're going to come to the different proficiency scales for each unit. For example, personality traits. This is unit 3. And the personality traits, they're talking about folk tales and those pourquoi tales, what's the moral of the story. And so here again, the proficiency scales for that. And so as we get better at this, as we go along, I think that taking these sample tasks I would hope that the school city will put together a bank of things so that you can select to use, and it'll be more user friendly. I know a lot of this stuff you have to create right now. So this takes us to the learning or the professional learning communities. So at the top, it says after each unit, fill out this form, please, reuse and print these pages. So you have the Google Sheets version or the Google Docs version. So you click on, either of these, right? Probably Google Doc. You can share that with your teammates, and then you can fill this out at the end of each unit. I really want you to focus on filling out the ELA. The math, it's nice, but the ELA I think is the most important because we really are building, the airplane while we're flying it. So looking at what the strengths are, what are some things that we used, instructional strategies, what the data itself. So if you have been using those proficiency scales, if you created something, like a pre and post with foundational, you can put that data in there, and then that would give us a little bit more information. And then looking ahead, now you're looking to unit, I guess it would be 4 because we're in unit talking about Unit 3, what this would look like. What do we need? What do we need to put together? And a status check. So at the end of that, now this is on page 71 for second grade, you've got mindset, work ethic, social emotional skills, and learning strategies, and it's broken down into grade level tiers for each one, and mindset. So let's just go ahead and click on connection, and it gives you different ideas that you can use and ways you can integrate social emotional learning in that morning time if you care to use. So it's another resource for you. And then at the end, there's a schedule like week 1 and 2 lifelong learning, and just talks about this, like laying it out for mindsets and social emotional skills. So this might be something that we'll want to look at a little bit more down the road. Right now, we're all just kind of getting our feet wet in this, but it might give us a framework that we could all work together on for that SEL, and kind of keeping those things going in one direction. So I hope this was helpful. This is new to all of us, and I'm really proud of everyone and how well you're getting through this. Just so much has been thrown at us at one time, right? And but I really appreciate your working through it and working with it. The more I work with it, the more excited I get about it. So I hope this was helpful, and have a great day.